Okay, what we'd like to do today is show the second part of our ZF2 video, or ZF8hp70 part 2 video. We took a brief video and showed what we had to modify to get it into the car. I wanted to take a clean shot of where it was and what we did, so those of you that are considering doing this kind of get an idea of where to start and what to do better than we did. If you take a look here, what we've done on the frame rail up in the frame is we have taken some 1/4-inch plate, added reinforcements, cut off the cross member, and then taken some additional 1/4-inch plate and built a new hoop to go around the top of the transmission. As you'll see, this bracket here is the bracket that we made to fit the back of the transmission because the truck transmission has a different rear output area than the Challenger transmission. What you see here is the Hemi-Denny cross member that goes across, that in a B body or a car that it fits would be moved forward up into the cross member. Unfortunately, we were unable to use that due to the length of the transmission versus an early A body body style. So whether this is still necessary or not, I'm not sure, but we already had it, so we decided to use it, and it does provide some additional drive shaft protection further back that will also act as a primary drive shaft loop when we put another drive shaft loop in the rear. So basically what we've done is we've also added, I believe you can see them here, there's some gussets that we've added into the frame rail of the cross member hoop to try and prevent flex of the torsion bars. We've used the Hemi-Denny bracketry. If you'll see, I think you can kind of tell up in here, we have taken some stainless steel boiler tubing and plate and filled that in between the brackets because we were concerned that the bracket itself would have some pinching. We didn't want it to pinch. And by doing that, if it pinches, then obviously you've lost structural integrity. The mount itself has been moved back. I believe the universal mount was somewhat eccentric, so we've marked it front and rear. Also, if you go to install the transmission, this is the cutout where your TCU is. You will have to install the TCU on the transmission before you assemble all of this. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fit the access space into the area that's required. Additionally, we didn't have to modify any of this. We did feel that was sufficient, other than when we cut open the cross member, we did put some of those Schedule 40 boiler tubing inside to hold these 3/8 bolts that are sleeves, so that way nothing can compress forward and backwards. And we believe that the gussets that we've added on top of the new hoop, the hoop itself and the gussets should keep the torsion bars from having any kind of twist or roll that would prevent adequate suspension and spring use. Once again, if you had the coil over shocks, this would be a moot issue because you could get rid of this stuff here and make your own thing all the way through to look really clean and nice. But we're not pros at any of this by any means, so this is what we get. The mount itself, you will have to probably modify the rear end. You can get a kind of a decent shot of it there. You'll have to modify the back end and make it a little extended in order to hold the trans mount. But other than that, it looks like that part is all in. We've already fitted in the car. It fits great. The only other struggle we're going to have now is continuously we've had to take the trans tunnel out and cut it even further back. We're currently trying to locate a Sonax or an adapter that fits the truck transmission versus the Challenger transmission, because those apparently are not used as often, but we use that for the lower shift point. But we've got the trans tunnel cut out for the new floorboards. We did stop here because the transmission does seem to, or the trans tunnel does seem to open up a bit when you get back to the rear support, connecting the front and essentially the front section where the back seat would sit for the floor pan reinforcement. We did stop there. We're likely going to have to come back another 6 or 8 inches. The seat belt bolt mounts had to be removed. So, but we anticipate that being a non-issue because a roll cage will have to go in, and we're going to tie the harness to that and weld in some new mounts for the bottom portions of the harness. Let's see what else. You've also got to potentially get into here and open that up. We anticipate running a 3.5 inch drive shaft. I think that's what we had on the 904. Had an aluminum drive shaft made. And we're going to have to make one now with a slip joint once we find a yoke that fits this end of the transmission, or an adapter flange. But I think if I get in here, you can kind of see what we've done. And you can see how we've modified Hemi Denny's kit. But for the most part, kept all of the theory, just had to make all new brackets up here and replace everything and reinforce this frame. If there's any other questions, I think that's about it. Yeah, it's pretty crude, but the floor pan will cover it. Thanks.